Welcome back to the Nickel and Dime Football Show. It's your boy Suds with yet another different camera angle again this week. I can't get this shit together. We are glad to have you back for the preview of the AFC East. Are the Bills going to repeat? Is somebody coming to take the throne? Is somebody on a downtrend? You're going to find it all right here. Lock in. It's Nickel and Dime season, baby.
Look at you in the new threads, huh? Win a Super Bowl,
man.
you go get a new jersey, huh?
Listen, man, it was that is the rules. It's the rules, and there with the Bucks. I'm a little privileged, but we have a lot of Hall of Famers to choose from, and a lot of Ring of Honor members that we can choose from, that I can choose from too. So that's my rules for a jersey, Drew. It's got to be a Hall of Famer. Got to be a Hall of Famer or a guaranteed Ring of Honor member. Because other than that, people, they change teams too much, man. I can't be out here spending this kind of money for somebody that's going to be on the Jets in 2022. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, we all know my Keyshawn Johnson fiasco. The only jersey that I own
Right.
immediately left the squad.
Yeah.
So.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not trying to do that, man. I'm not trying to do that. I went with the Levante David. I know Bucks fans feel me on that. Great jersey to have. Future Ring of Honor, should be Hall of Fame member, man.
Well, that's nice that you're wearing a piece of the Bucks defense because the rumblings this week is the defense have a little chip on their shoulder. Want to step out of Tom Brady's shadow. They're like, we won a Super Bowl. Like, yeah, Tom Brady did, but we won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, and I'm actually not surprised by that because usually whenever you talk about the Bucks, it's got to be Tom Brady first. It's a Tom Brady league, but the defense is the one who held the Chiefs without a touchdown in the Super Bowl, and that vaunted Chiefs offense. So like what a way to find motivation. Like, you've already reached the mountaintop. How do you motivate yourself even further?
Right, because I mean, it's hard to say defending Super Bowl champ and then say chip on their shoulder in the same sentence. You know?
Right. So, I mean, athletes, they take exception to the littlest slight.
And
so
then I took it personal.
Yeah, hopefully they don't do that. Or maybe they will. I don't know. So what we got on decky for this week, bro?
We're going to get into the AFC East, man. But real quick, let's get into some housekeeping notes. Got Giants activate running back Barkley. He's going to start practicing and doing the things and running and playing football again. Yeah, and Giants fans love to see it. I mean, and many fantasy owners as well really hope he can stay on the field because like he can take you over the top. You know what he can do. I just want to see it for a full 17 games though. That's all I'm asking. Where would you pick him? What number in the draft order would you go after him?
I definitely think that it seems to be, in other champions can speak to this. I can't because they've been winning. I haven't in fantasy, but like quarterbacks are now shooting up the draft boards, Drew. So like maybe it's got to be mid first round because he's still arguably one of the top tier running backs if he can give you that full slate. So he has to be picked near the top of the draft, probably maybe back half round one.
Who knows, man? I might go standard running back this year because I've been trying to feel fancy and get a running back or get a wide receiver, a tight end, or a quarterback in the first couple of rounds, and that has not worked for me lately. So I might go back to the old standard, get the running backs while I can kind of thing.
And and that may be your strategy. I know I got to change my shit up because it hasn't been working well. And I usually, man, I'm a wide receiver heavy guy. Whenever I won the league, I went wide receiver heavy, and I've typically had success going that route. But lately, man, it's just like, and I don't know what else is going on too. But I'll always be picking in the back half of the draft. Not yet. Since the league has started, has your boy gotten the first pick? Not one time. Not one time. And I'm not hot about that shit at all. I'm not hot about it.
He's looking at you, Yahoo. He's looking at you who randomly picks our order every year.
Random. Random.
Man, I wish I was good enough to know how to fix that. I would be picking number 5 every year. You kidding me?
Yeah.
Get out of here.
That's perfect spot.
Right. Someone whose name might not get called in fantasy, depending on if he can stay on the field. Hunter Henry, already hurt. Already hurt.
Yeah. And the crazy part about that, Drew, is we're actually going to talk about him when we break down the Patriots. But as soon as I saw it, like, I had to go back and change some notes because he was a big factor in what they are going to be trying to do this year, especially he was going to be TE1. Jonnu is going to be TE1A, I guess, if you will. So
yeah,
big
you can
loss.
drop the A because he's 1 now.
Yeah, hell yeah.
It was kind of the perfect week for us to land on the AFC East because all the housekeeping notes are kind of AFC East driven. Josh Allen signs a 6-year, $258 million contract extension.
Millie, a lot of guaranteed money.
$258 million.
Yeah, a lot of guaranteed money. Rightfully so. I think anybody who is an NFL fan knew that this was coming, especially since Patrick Mahomes signed that deal. Josh Allen has a chance this year to become, again, the best quarterback in football. It's just Patrick Mahomes right now at the top, and Josh Allen arguably is right there, nipping at his heels. So we'll see. He's got an opportunity this year. So and now he's got a fat paycheck weighing him down too. So
right. Well, Jackson and Baker are next up for quarterbacks and contracts. Who do you think between those two has the most pressure on them this year?
It has got to be Jackson, because he is elite as far as what he can do as a whole prospect, passing and running. But the passing has to take a next step for him to be able to put himself in that conversation. I think he knows that everybody can see it, and if he can do that, especially on the deep passes, the sky's the limit for that team. But I think right now in the AFC, it's the Chiefs and the Bills to lose. I don't think the Ravens can get there even with that defense and coaching.
The only thing that I can say, the argument for Baker being under more pressure this year is I think the Ravens are sold on Lamar. I think they're going down with that ship if Lamar never turns out to be this amazing passer.
Right.
That takes him to the Super Bowl. I think they're riding the Lamar Jackson train. I don't think Cleveland's 100% sold on Baker yet.
Really?
I don't know if that's Cleveland being Cleveland or if they're just waiting for that breakout year that just hasn't happened yet. I don't know, just picking apart the interviews with like the GM and like higher ups in Cleveland, I just don't know if they're set on Baker going forward.
I can definitely, because they haven't paid him yet, right? Honestly, I think this is the year. This is the year for Baker. If he balls, he's going to get that record extension. Probably not like a Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes, but obviously right below that, being the third guy in the AFC, or fourth guy, whatever, however you feel. But listen, it's all on Baker. It's all on Baker. But if I'm them, I'm like, I think I would be sold. What about you? Like, yes or no? Are you sold on Baker, or do you need this year to kind of solidify that?
I think I'm sold on him, but this year depends on if he gets that contract or not, like that huge contract.
Right.
Like I'm down to sign him for. I'm trying to think of like an equivalent quarterback, like recent contract, but
right.
Like I'd be willing to give him like a. I don't even want to compare him to Kirk Cousins because Kirk Cousins is terrible, but Kirk Cousins is also tragically overpaid. So I would give him like that kind of contract, you know what I mean? But he would earn it, or he would deserve it. It wouldn't be a Kirk Cousins overvalued kind of thing.
Yeah,
I agree with you. He doesn't get Allen or Mahomes money though.
Nah, it can't be that. And like, speaking of quarterbacks who are getting paid too much and who are overrated, I mean, you drop Kirk O'Bangs, and I think he is the poster child for what you don't want to do too early or without seeing it on tape anymore. And I think that he just kind of ruined it for quarterbacks. They're stuck. They wish they could get rid of
that contract.
Yeah.
Right. No, every other team's like,
Yeah. And I mean, that just goes to show, like, maybe you just don't have to dig in your pockets too early, man. You have to see it on the field. I thought Kirk Cousins had enough tape out there to show you. And then what the Washington football team did, not paying him year after year after year, the roadmap was there. But I guess to get him out of Washington, you had to pay him something. But they obviously paid him too much.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely going to – I hope it comes down to those 4 teams in the AFC. I think that gives us the best entertainment value. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
In the AFC. How about the Hall of Fame inductions? A lot of big names went in this year. We got Megatron, Ed Reed, Peyton Manning. Drew Pearson finally got in.
Finally. Yeah, this is it was a stacked class. And how dare you, or maybe you're waiting for me, but John Lynch also in the Hall of Fame.
Of course.
Also in the Hall of Fame.
I couldn't do it justice. I was waiting for you.
There you go. That's what it is. But no, it was going to be hard because when you think about it, if Ed Reed and Troy Polamalu got in, that's 2 safeties right there. So you had a 3 safety class go into the Hall of Fame, which is rare. But I think it was because John Lynch was long overdue. So it was about time to get him in there. So you won't really see that too often. But Peyton Manning, obviously first ballot. There's a lot of easily first ballot guys, and that's what I think you see this year. So
his speech was pretty good. Your boy got booed heavily throughout the speech, though. But
I wasn't able to catch the speech. Like, they like just the quotes or whatnot, the big quotes. But I didn't really catch the speech. So Lynch got booed?
No, Brady got booed.
Oh, okay, yeah, of course.
Manning was talking about how long the speeches have started going. He's like, in case y'all are keeping track at home, what Ray Lewis has just got done with his speech that started in 2018, and he's like, by the time that Tom Brady is a first time ballot in 2040, he'll just tweet out his speech. So and then when he brought up Brady, everyone boo.
I mean, listen, man, it's
he
hard.
Even turned around like, what did I do? I didn't even do anything.
It's hard to not get booed when you have 7 rings and you still playing. I mean, there's every reason in the world to hate on Tom Brady, and you're in your 40s. Like, every reason in the world to hate on Tom Brady, and literally the only reason that I'm not doing it is because he's the quarterback of my team. So
that's fair.
Full disclosure.
All right, well, definitely, last but definitely not least, a developing story we've been keeping our eye on. Give you an update real quick. The Dolphins did indeed restructure Xavier Howard's contract, making his $12 million that he was set to make fully guaranteed, and then also added in $3.5 million in incentives.
Yeah. Guaranteed a portion of next year's salary as well. Like, I don't know why it wasn't guaranteed in the first place, but as long as he's happy,
nice, that's all he wanted.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
if that's what it took, then that's clearly what it was. So, I mean, I don't know why it took this long to do so, but like, as long as he's back in the fold and he's happy enough, let it ride, man. Y'all got a defense that is going to keep you competitive in this division, and I don't know why you would want to rock the boat. And now that distraction's out of the way.
I mean, but all things considered, that went pretty smooth. You know what I mean? He's like, I'm upset. They're like, come on, really? And he's like, I'm upset. And they're like, all right.
Yeah. Yeah. Once the trade demand dropped, I mean, what could you do? Like, I mean, that's pretty much it for a player who can actually force their way off the team, who's good enough.
More
have
players
shooters.
Can do that now.
Yeah, player empowerment.
Because every team that was competing was chomping at the bit to get that dude.
Oh, definitely. I mean, an elite corner, 10 picks in the past year, still young. Yeah, every team, all 31 other teams would have been interested in that. So,
and you get him for $12 million this year. Like, yeah, he can be upset next offseason, but you get him for $12 million this year. So
yeah, I'm doing that all day.
Right. Well, I mean, we basically talked about the AFC East already for the show, but let's get into our preview 2021 AFC East. First up, man, let's talk about these revamped New York Jets. They went 2-14 last year. Picked up San Francisco's defensive coordinator Robert Saleh as their new head coach.
Great move.
I mean, we can go ahead and talk about the draft because they made some big waves, getting arguably the second best quarterback prospect in the draft when they went with BYU's Zach Wilson.
Yeah, yeah, and Zach Wilson shot up the draft boards once people actually started to take notice of what that man could do on the field and how effortlessly he throws the ball. Very as far as how he throws and how that ball gets out of his hands and down the field, very Aaron Rodgers, very Patrick Mahomes-esque, and I think that's what people like about him. Can throw at a lot of angles and move on the move, throw on the move rather. But everybody knows about him. What I loved though is they got some OL help for that left side and Elijah Vera Tucker out of USC. All indications from their training camp, Drew, have been that Elijah Moore is electric. Got him in the second round as well. Yeah.
That's awesome to hear because they went and got their quarterback, got him some protection, and then they just went weapon shopping.
Yes, they did, and they had some picks to do so. Came right back in round 4 and got arguably my favorite running back in the draft. Michael Carter out of UNC,
oh, man. He was so fun to watch in college.
Yeah.
I can't wait, man. I think he's the better of the two, but we'll see. You know what I mean? I mean, and that's super close. Like, that's not saying that I'm not a big Javonte Williams fan. I just when Carter was on the field, electricity happened. But
exactly,
so I'm excited about it.
So now you have those two guys coming in the same draft class. So I loved it. I loved it. And I'm all about those.
On top of
picks.
that, they went out and got Tevin Coleman, Corey Davis, Kellen Cole.
Yeah.
Like
Sheldon Rankins.
They made sure that this guy was going to have some people to throw to. Because I don't know if you've seen the depth chart, but kind of switching over to the offense a little bit. Their second and third string quarterbacks are a dynamic duo named James Morgan and Mike White. So pretty sure they're going all in on Zach Wilson here.
Yeah, and that's what they need, but that's what they're doing, everything that they should have done with Sam Darnold. I think everybody outside of the building and now inside of the building clearly realized that they did nothing to surround that man with talent. So it was a waste of a pick. And now they are basically back to square one. But this square one looks a hell of a lot better than when Sam Darnold came in. And they have a good coach who I wholly believe in. Finally got rid of Adam Gase. So I think it's trending up. For sure. It's definitely trending up.
Yeah. I mean, they got a nice group of running backs with Coleman, Carter, and Perrine. And then they got Crowder, Davis, Cole, Moore. Forgot about Mims, who they drafted a couple years ago. Like, they got stacked
pass
catchers,
about Denzel Mims.
Runners. Yeah, they got Herndon at the tight end who showed, flashes here and there. They've got the offense. How does this offensive line stack up? Can they give Wilson time to find these guys?
Well, and that's the thing is, like, the left side's going to be strong with Becton and Elijah Vera Tucker. They brought in Morgan Moses, so they placed him at the I want to say at the right tackle spot, and with Van Roten next to him. So I want to see more from them, the offensive line, because if you can't protect Zach Wilson, then you're basically going down the same path.
What's the point? Yeah.
And I think if the offensive line can get it together, not necessarily talking about the left side, because I think that at their floor, they'll be solid with Beckham and Vera Tucker. But if the rest of the offensive line can get it together, that equals a couple more wins in my book. And now they're not going to threat for the division, in my opinion. But if you're a fan, 3 wins and 6 to 7 wins is a completely different outlook for the coming season.
Just give them some hope.
Right.
Like, if you're a Jets fan, you just want hope. You just want something to shine through that's been nothing but clouds and rainy days.
Yeah.
Looking through the crazy eyes of Adam Gase.
Yeah, glad that's out of
Worst
town,
coach
man.
Of all time. I'm throwing that out there.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing it. I'm dropping it. Worst coach of all time.
At least in the recent past, he is Jesus. He is horrible, and he's still on a roster. Like, I think he is still coaching now. Like, he's not out the league. I can't remember whose squad he's on.
Who picked him up?
It was like as a coordinator or consultant or something. But that man is in the league for sure.
I would consult him on how to fire people.
I can't do it. I can't do it.
Well, kind of moving on to this defense.
Right.
They franchised the safety May. They ended up working a deal.
Rightfully
out there,
so.
right? Long-term deal.
Well, I don't believe so. I think he's definitely their franchise player, but
Okay.
I can't remember. Yeah, I think he might play on the tag this year. He
Those
deserves that money, though.
like that highlight catch, that interception, man, that arguably did more damage to their season, but got him a win last year.
Yeah, and he's been doing that since he was paired with Jamal Adams. I mean, like Marcus May has been consistently one of the best safeties in the league. A bright spot on a not bright team. But you know what I love though, the back end is going to be fine. Like Marcus May is the leader of them. But I want the young guys to take that next step in the secondary. I think they'll be okay. But what I love though, Quinnen Williams and Sheldon Rankins paired next to each other. So Sheldon Rankins left the Saints because they couldn't pay him, and now he gets paired with one of the better young tackles in the league. I need Quinnen to get to his ceiling. You know what I'm saying? Like he's got a ton of talent, ton of ability, but he needs to reach his ceiling. I think him being paired with a better defensive tackle will help that. So,
and you know the wonderful defensive mind of Saleh, that's going to be great for him.
Exactly. And they got Carl Lawson too. So Carl Lawson has been a monster for quite some time. Drew, how do you feel about the linebackers that are not named CJ Mosley?
I was just about to say CJ Mosley is the whole linebacking core. I have that written down on my little notes here. That's so funny you led up to that because I don't know outside of him. I don't know the names, to be honest with you.
Right. And listen, I think they're like since you're getting solid on the back end, I know what you're going to get up front. But the linebackers are where it's going to go. Now, I will put it to you like this. We just talked about Robert Saleh being the defensive guy, being the head coach. I think the scheme will take them where they need to go. So, like, these players who we don't really know may wind up looking better because of a great scheme fit. So, hopefully that's the case, and then maybe we'll know these guys come next year. But C.J. Mosley definitely needs to make sure those around him elevate their game to what he can do.
Okay. Well, let's look at the schedule because they got a loss week 1, guaranteed.
Oh, okay, all right, coming out swinging. I honestly, man, I looked at that game and it kind of went back and forth because I didn't realize that and then didn't think about it, but like the Jets defense, a lot of emotions coming in for Sam Darnold in that game. I like what Matt Rule can bring as an unknown with that crazy mind of his in that offense. So yeah. I do give Carolina the advantage of week 1.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Every report I've seen out of training camp has just been Darnold's been throwing interceptions. So I mean that's probably good for our defense. You know what I mean? But like,
true.
Need him to not do that.
That's the one caveat that you have to take is like, oh damn, the offense sucks today. Well, the defense is doing good. You know what I'm saying? It's either one or the other because they're not playing against anybody. It sucks
when you read like first play on set. Like I read it this morning. First play on 7-7. It was like quarterback Darnold hits wide receiver in hands, deflected right into Jermaine Carter's hands. I was like, oh, well, I mean, he hit the guy in the hands.
That's what I was saying.
And Carter got the pick, but like,
yeah, at least he hit him in the hands. You know the rule, if it hits you in the hands, you got to catch it. Simple as that. Everybody knows that. So that's more on the receiver.
You're in the NFL.
Exactly. But either way, back to the Jets, man. I got them going 6-11. So +4 in the first year with Robert Saleh at the helm.
We're on the same track. I got them 5-12.
All right.
Yeah. It's because the schedule looked a little tough to me. Like I think they're going to be better than a 5-12 team, but they play some tough teams. They do.
And I think like you might get that roller coaster is like they may play better than a 5-12 team in some games. You know what I'm saying? Like they could wallop people and take people off guard, catch people off guard. But this is also a rookie quarterback. You're going to get rookie quarterback things. This is a rookie head coach for the first time. You're going to get rookie head coach teams. You want to know what is the one underrated thing about coaching? that most people don't think, especially when it comes to rookie head coaches: time of possession. Time of possession and clock management. Like you never know how a coach is gonna, manage the clock. And there's been,
especially a defensive coach.
Yes. Because they don't have the offensive timing. So you've seen established head coaches mess time management up. Bruce Arians, for example, has been known to kind of mess that up. Not necessarily last year, but it happened.
Dude,
so
John Fox used to be the most frustrating.
Even I know that as a Bucks fan that John Fox was not great at time management. Yeah,
God,
probably led to his downfall in Denver too.
Like he would run the ball in hopes of controlling the clock, but it would backfire to where we would just 3 and out it so much.
Yeah.
That all the other team had to do was get a first down here and there, and they were destroying us on time of possession. So that was very frustrating. So I hear you on the time of possession argument. Well, one team that I don't think we got to worry about coaching faults if they lose games this year, I think it's going to be on the personnel. It's the New England Patriots. Surprisingly, 7-9 last year. Don't really talk about the Patriots and the losing record, but definitely drafted and had an off season that looks like they're going to bounce back.
Yeah, and I did obviously Mac Jones the big get there, and they get some players back. Really, honestly, I was looking this up. Really, the only player that they're getting back from an opt-out that's supposed to do anything is Dante Hightower. That everybody else is kind of.
That's a big. That's a big opt-in. You know what I mean? Like you need that guy.
It definitely is. But what I love though, Drew, is like Mac Jones is Mac Jones. Like people penciled him in. They were hopeful that the Patriots could get him all off season, but. Christian Barmore, arguably the best defensive tackle in the draft, dropped, due to concerns about, maybe he's a 1-year wonder, maybe he doesn't give all the effort sometime, whatever it was. But they got him in round 2, then followed that up with another guy who I think they got a little bit later or could play better than his draft where he was drafted, in Ronnie Perkins. So I love those 3 picks. I do.
Well, they got some bigger names, but you also know that the Patriots don't need the big names. Like, they make their own superstars. They draft these players where you're like, huh? And then they're all pro in 3 years. You know what I mean? Like
that's so crazy because I was thinking about that when I was looking at their draft, because I was like, all right, those aren't the only 3 picks that they had. Those are the 3 picks that I've noted. But I was going to ask you, like, which pick that we don't see coming is going to wind up being the guy? Because like, they get one every year.
Right. It's every year you're like, who's that guy? And then he's a household name in another 2 or 3 years. Like
some obscure school drafted in the 6th round, you know what I'm saying?
Because who's that little receiver, that Gunner with the crazy last name? Like, where did he was a quarterback. Didn't even catch the ball in college.
Getting touchdowns in the league now at the receiver position. You know what I'm saying?
They just produce players. So, like, I never truly worry about the Patriots draft. Like, because they might turn that Trey Nixon in the 7th round, the wide receiver from UCF, might be a machine. You know what I mean? Like, who knows?
But, I mean, talking a little bit more about their offseason, Drew, the Patriots went out and spent some damn money this time.
Spent some money.
And that is definitely unusual. What do you think about their free agent spending spree, man?
I mean, to be honest with you, my favorite signing out of all of it was Jonnu Smith, because he just quietly had great years in Tennessee. You know what I mean? Like, Hunter Henry's the flashy one, but like we talked about in housekeeping, is he going to be on the field?
Yep.
I think Jonnu Smith's got a better chance of staying on the field and being that safety net, especially if Mac Jones gets to start early on, which we think he's going to. Well, a rookie quarterback loves his tight end.
Wrote it down in my notes, and when I was more specifically talking about the breakdown of the quarterbacks, which we'll get to in a second, but I'll just go ahead and drop that note now. Who else loves tight end more than a rookie quarterback? Cam Newton does. Cam Newton loves the tight end. I mean, look at what he did with Greg Olsen. Right, exactly. So either way you look at it, getting back to the Jonnu Smith thing, Drew. He might have the biggest opportunity on the team as what he was able to do in Tennessee. Now he's the guy. Like, the offense is probably going to run through the tight ends to the outside receivers, and they do have some now. So getting Kendrick Bourne in, getting Nelson Aguilar to come on over, both of those guys also have an opportunity to prove themselves to be number one wide receivers now. So more Kendrick Bourne, but Bill Belichick I think seeing Tommy get that ring pissed his ass off. I'm sorry.
Pissed him off. You know he hates losing. And they got Van Noy back in the fold. Kind of rented him out to the Dolphins for a year. Came back.
Yeah, they had that man on layaway.
But he's coming back.
Which we'll talk about that when we talk about the Dolphins, man. But like, Dolphins, what are you doing? Kyle Van Noy is a good talent, man. I don't know what happened there.
And you paid him. You basically paid him to play with the Pats this year.
They paid that man to go to Miami on vacation for a year just to like play football. I mean, he was a mercenary. He was a mercenary last year, basically. But I think, other than that, I guess like if we're moving along to the offense, Drew.
Let's get to this offense.
I got one question for you, man. Cam or Mac? What you got?
I mean, will forever love Cam Newton.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Got to. He made being a Carolina fan interesting again.
Right.
But I just don't trust that shoulder. I don't trust his throwing ability.
I got you.
They went out and got these targets. You got to have someone that can throw him the ball. So I think Cam starts a game or two, and if he can't get the ball down the field, you got to make the switch. You got to.
And that's not unlike what I wrote down. I said, I mean, most pundits believe Mac Jones will see the field in 2021. I'm not so sure. I think I even know, because he was your quarterback, so you've seen him way more than I have, but I think I'm a little higher on Cam's ability to come back than you may be. Maybe you've just been beaten over the head with the last couple of years and like you're a beaten down man. I get it. But it is all going to hinge on Cam's throwing. Like if Cam can't throw the ball or it's not up to what the standard is there, then Mac Jones is going to see the field, man. So I don't know.
I just keep hearing next year, his arm's better, his arm's better, his arm's better.
Right.
And I haven't seen it. So I don't know.
That goes to I mean, he finally did say it in the offseason, like on his YouTube, he was like, he finally dropped, that he really wasn't right since this game and stuff like that. We hadn't heard that before. So maybe
just be honest, man. We know it's up. You can sugarcoat it all you want to, but the people that watch the games week after week know when your arm's not right.
And honestly, I mean, don't get me wrong. There are some dumb fans out there, but there are a lot more astute fans out there than I think the people in the NFL give the fans credit for. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like there's so much content out there for us as fans to consume. We will go through that with a fine tooth comb to figure it out. So don't bullshit us with the headlines, man. We can see it. Right. We can see it when we watch the tape.
We might not be 5-star athletes ourselves, but we played sports growing up. You know what I mean? I went through a shoulder injury playing baseball. I know the signs. I went from throwing 90 from third base to first base to throwing like 65 at best. You know what I mean? Like I know what a shoulder injury looks like.
Right.
And my man just hasn't gotten right with that.
Yeah. I mean, and kind of moving along, which that's the big story about how this team is going to go.
Who's
really
going to throw the ball?
Yeah, so who's going to throw it and who's going to get it done? But it looks to be like kind of running back by committee again, Drew.
I was going to ask you, do any of them have any fantasy football value?
Damian Harris does. I think and I loved Sony Michel coming out, but like again with this Belichick offense and how they typically deploy their running backs, I'm staying away from each one of them because it's a week-to-week basis thing whenever it comes to the Patriots.
I had Harris last year, and I mean he put up a consistent 8 to 10 points, but he never had that 20-point game.
Right, and that's what's that solid for RB3. You know what I'm saying, for your fantasy squad, RB3.
If you put him in the flex, you're upset you didn't put a receiver.
Right. So
but that's how depleted my running backs were last year.
Yeah. You know what? I know, like, our fans are probably like, they hear us talk shit about fantasy, and they like, Stop with the excuses, man. Just get some wins. I know, like,
we know we sucked last year.
Yeah, we did.
We're trying to be better for you. Okay,
and it's not excuses.
To be better for you.
It's not excuses. I promise. I think. Nah, but I mean, wide receivers and TEs, Drew. You know, I really think that
plethora. That's the word that comes to mind.
That's where you're going to see the value added. The offensive line, I definitely think they can protect. Shaq Mason's one of my favorite offensive linemen. Isaiah Wynn has another year in the league. Hopefully he can get up to speed and kind of keep that progression going. They get Trent Brown back too, Drew. Trent Brown is back. Had his best years as a Patriot. You know what I mean? So I think what you get there, this makes the moves that they made as a whole, I really think gets this team back on track, at least more in the line of what most Patriots fans think they should be.
Yeah. Well, I definitely think they're going to be able to run the ball, and depending on who's in the game, get the ball to these playmakers. But how about this defense? Do you think they'll be able to stop other teams? Because they got the old school New England Patriots defense back. When you're looking at some of these names, they've been there for a while. They lost one of the McCourties, but they still got his brother. Right. Gilmore, is Gilmore going to make it the whole season as a Patriot?
I think he will, because I still think there's more money for Gilmore out there to get, if not, be traded at some point, especially and JC Jackson's on the come up. If you look at this defense, they have plus players. And what I mean by plus players, just above average to good to great players at a lot of different positions on this 11 of the defense. So, I think the defensive line will be fine. But I definitely, if there's one area where I need them to be better, it's there. But then when you get a linebacker like Dante Hightower back, it helps everybody. So he's right in the middle.
Of the defense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
let's kind of look at this schedule. Oh, go for it.
No, I was gonna say, and not only that, but how quickly we forget that we're not talking about Matt Patricia, the head coach, anymore, Drew. We're talking about Matt Patricia, the defensive coordinator for the New England Patriots. You know what I'm saying? So he's also
Patricia
back in the fold.
In the fold.
He's back in the fold, and that defense was stout when those two defensive minds were together. So that also helps as well. My fault. I didn't mean to cut you off.
And he's got more to prove now too. You know what I mean?
Yep. Because if he does what he did the first time he was in New England, he gets another head coaching shot. You know what I'm saying? It's as simple as that.
Maybe he might pull the Josh McDaniels and just stay where he's at. He's like, I'm good.
True. That could be
It
true.
was scary out there. I don't want to leave.
Suckling on the teat until he retires.
It's a good teat. It's a good teat to suck on. Let's kind of look at this 2021 outlook. They got some winnable games early.
Yeah.
They do have a late bye.
Right.
In case they need to make a quarterback change.
I did.
But I definitely think they improve off this 7-9. I don't think that we see that again.
Yeah. The only thing I was going to say is just getting back to when you were talking about the quarterback. Drew had the longest pregnant pause that we've had in a while, because you just don't know. I had to note that pause was pregnant as hell. She about to drop. But I think you're right, Drew. I think you're right. I got them going 9-8, man. I got them going 9-8. Winnable games, but pregnant pause. I just don't know. I don't know what the quarterback's man. You know what I'm saying?
I think Bill will snatch Cam out if he can't throw the ball pretty quick, and I think he's got exactly what he wants in his future Tom Brady. And not saying this guy's ever going to live up to Tom Brady, but
it's hard
what Bill needs him to do in the offense is there, and Mac Jones. I think they go 10-7. I don't think they maybe make a run in the playoffs, but I think they're one of those AFC teams that is just tossed up to Buffalo or Cleveland in the first round.
And you know what I love? This is what I love about Drew's prediction, is because I struggled with that. And the only reason I have them going 9-8 is because they split with Miami. That's the only reason. And of course they played Miami. It was the last game of the season. that January 9th game at Miami, and I have them splitting. I thought about, Miami, they could get the better of them twice, but I really think that's what it is. So, like, I can easily see 10-7 over 9-8 as well.
Yeah, I got them beating Miami maybe twice.
All right.
Next up, we got the Miami Dolphins. Went 10-6 last year, but unfortunately, we're the 10-6 team on the outside looking in, thanks to some losses there at the end, and some people questioning their quarterback of the future.
Right.
How do you feel like they got better with this draft and or offseason?
I think it's a wash for me, Drew. I really think it's a wash because while I really love what they did in the draft, the whole Brian Flores philosophy, nobody can kind of really figure out what they're doing, but they're a good team. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of a herky-jerky way to go about it, but, just quickly addressing
we don't know what you do well, but it's something. Exactly.
And they did that to 10 they did that to 10 wins last year. I think that's the best way to put it. We don't know what you do, but you do it well. And that's kind of a credit to Flores. Just a quick aside before I get into their draft, because you remember before they went to those 10 wins, we were laughing at them like hard as hell. You know what I'm saying? For those moves that they were making. And it just goes to show that the belief inside the building was better than that outside the building. So, but talking about their draft before I kick it back to you, Drew, Jalen Waddle, the family man, Jalen Phillips, the two Jalens, you know what I'm saying? Javon
I know
Holland.
you weren't too high on Phillips. High on Phillips coming out of Miami.
Not necessarily. I thought he was the best one out of the Miami rushers. Who I was really down on is Greg Rousseau, and he is also in the division. We'll talk about him in a second. But Javon Holland, underrated safety. He was very polarizing as a safety because for as many people that were high on him, there was a lot of people that was like, I need to see a little bit more. But my favorite is Liam Eichenberg, the offensive lineman out of Notre Dame. Really liked his tape, and he will compete to start. That's going to happen because they need some on this offensive line, which we'll talk about in a minute.
Okay. Well, they also quietly went out and got a couple pieces. They got wide receiver Fuller, who's still got a couple games on the suspension he's got to serve. Went out and got running back Malcolm Brown. And then quietly, I didn't know about this till I did the research on this team.
I know what you're going to say.
Jacoby Brissett.
There it is. Oh, man. That kind of makes me happy. And I'll kick this right to you, Drew. I mean, I guess moving on to, kind of talking about this and moving on to the offense, but like the question is, does the Tua Tagovailoa roller coaster continue? Because if it does, then this Jacoby Brissett signing is exactly what a lot of people, the host of this show, Drew specifically, I know thinks. Like, you don't go out and sign a Jacoby Brissett when you have a quarterback like Tua Tagovailoa, who's Jacoby Brissett is a known. You know what you can get with that guy. I think he can. The Tua can't. Jacoby might be able to. You know what I'm saying?
I'm kind of excited at the thought of Jacoby running this offense. You know what I mean? Like, he's got Waddle in the fold now. You know what I mean? Like, got Parker. You know what I mean? Like, Gaskins emerging as a running back. Like, we love their tight end. Let's sign it. Let's get a petition going now to get Tua out in Miami and get Brissett this starting job.
That petition is like gonna go like this. As soon as the season starts and Tua might not do it, I'm telling you, because we know what Jacoby Brissett can do if you put a team around him. I'm not saying like he's the end all be all. I think like Jacoby is he's a solid floor guy. He has a solid floor, and if Tua can't, then yes, Miami will be back in the quarterback market. You know what I'm saying? But, I mean, I think Jacoby Brissett...
Might be a nice stopgap.
Right, exactly. Can take this team to where they need to go in the interim, winning games while still being in the quarterback market. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Let's go ahead and get into the rest of this offense then.
Yeah, man,
Because you know me, I have zero faith in Tua. But I will give him that he is cautious with the football. You know what I mean? He doesn't like to turn the football over. Sometimes being cautious turns into turnovers, though. So one thing is he does keep a hold of the football, but he just did not take risks last year. And this is a game where you got to chunk the ball down the field sometimes.
Especially this day and age, because I think what you get with that is you wind up going the route of an Alex Smith, who like very notoriously he was very risk averse, would not chuck the ball down the field. And you see what that can get you, but you also see what that can get you. It's fine, like, but you're eventually going to be out of town for a gunslinger or a gunslinger type who can throw the football accurately down the field. So for as much as he wasn't turnover prone, his play was very up and down. I mean, there were plays that were there to be made that he didn't make. The rest of the team is ready to go. I don't know what you get there, but they're surrounded with talent, Drew. I mean, Will Fuller, if he can stay on the field, which he proved he can do last year, but with the steroids and the PEDs or whatever it was, maybe that's what kept him on the field. We joked last year, so we'll see. But when you add Devontae Parker, Jalen Waddle, what you think he can get you, Will Fuller, Preston Williams, as well, he's out right now, but he'll be back. Myles Gaskin and Malcolm Brown, who are solid but not spectacular. And Mike Gesicki. So I kind of like what the skill positions bring. Is just really about whether or not this offensive line can protect these boys, man. Really.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. A lot of running around last year did not help with the development of Tua. I mean, Fitzmagic handled it all right, but Tua struggled a little bit. Right,
but Fitzmagic is a guy, even though he's an older guy, can still get around with his legs, and that's what he had to do. Because Fitzpatrick is kind of underratedly accurate outside the pocket and can get outside the pocket there. But kind of addressing the O-line before we move to the defense, Drew, the longest tenured player on this offensive line is only 5 years in the league. You know what I'm saying? So not a lot of situational, things that these guys have seen.
Could help.
Yeah.
Youth could help,
Yeah.
They've gelled together.
It could. We'll see, though. I don't know.
We will see.
Skeptical.
Well, they brought Phillips in to help with this defense, who has a great secondary. I just question if they can get to the quarterback or not.
Right. Yeah. And which is huge, obviously, but the secondary, you're right, Drew, is honestly, it's one of the best in the league. Minus what, Javon Holland as a rookie may be able to give you. But again, the addition by having a solid team around you, kind of moniker. But like, I think if you put him in there, he should thrive, right? he should thrive. The front seven looks formidable, but the only questions I really have is at the right defensive end spot and the right inside linebacker spot with Jerome Baker. Everybody else, I definitely feel like can do the thing. Christian Wilkins has been a very, not even a surprise, but like he's doing his thing. So really love what I see there. Hope he continues to ascend. But overall, I'm very high on the defense. I'm high on the scheme, Drew, because I like Brian Flores. Yeah.
They just won games.
Yep.
Like you said, they just won games.
Right. So what do you think? What you think about this schedule, though, bro? Like, what you think? Can they do it again? Can they do it again?
They kind of get smacked in the face early on, though. Like, that's what I'm worried about. You know what I mean? Like, they play some woo.
Yeah. That first
like,
five,
depending
bro.
on you might catch the Patriots with their pants down week one. You know what I mean? Especially if they're diehard with sticking with Cam and he can't throw the ball.
Yeah.
So you could steal one week one. But then you got Buffalo, Vegas, Indianapolis, Tampa Bay.
Yeah. Before you get the layup in Jacksonville. I think you're right. Maybe they can catch. Well, I got them splitting with New England. We just talked about it. So the week one game is actually the game that I have Miami winning. That, you know what I'm saying? But like by the end of the season, they'll know what they are. It's at home.
Yeah,
they
finished with Saints, Tennessee, Pats. That could be 3 losses right there.
It could be. It very well could be. So, listen, keeping it short and sweet. I have them boys going 10-7 with the quarterback situation being what it is. I still have them going 10-7 because I like the coaching. Ooh. I like the defense. Yes, sir.
I like it.
Yes, sir.
I got the flippy floppy. I got them going 7-10.
Damn. Miami taking a step back.
Do not trust Tua, and I think they're going to go down with this ship. As interesting as Jacoby Brissett is with this offense, I think they stick with Tua when he just sucks.
Okay. I think if Tua goes down, I think they will pull his ass again and put Jacoby Brissett in there. And that can get dangerous because, like, Drew, how does the perception of Tua Tagovailoa as a quarterback change if you get pulled throughout the season 2 years in a row? Like, in your first 2 years. Like, I don't know that that's ever happened in the league before. You know what I'm saying? Like, as somebody who gets picked that high. So, I think if that happens, he might be done.
Yeah.
Right.
You set yourself up for being a RG3. You know what I mean?
Yes. Like, yeah. Damn,
bounce around a couple of times, and then next thing you know, you're an analyst.
Yeah. Announcing on ESPN. ESPN just offered him a contract, and it's not for sports.
And I'm sorry, man. I hate it for you because I think you're a very nice person, but Tua, you don't have the personality to be an analyst, my dude. You need this to work out. Accurate. Next up, we got the reigning, defending AFC East champion, and you don't get to say this a lot. The Buffalo Bills. Look at those guys. Went 13-3 last year. Finally took the division away from the Patriots. They're looking good, man. This team looks good.
Yeah, and they really, I think what their kind of whole approach was just really about kind of building on what they have. Like, they didn't really do a whole lot. Like, they re-signed some guys. They did sign my favorite thing, Matt Breida. Brought him in, which I really like because I really like Matt Breida.
Running game sucked.
It wasn't. And, like, I think Zach Moss is probably going to be the one because Devin Singletary, I'm down on Devin Singletary. I think I'm out on him.
Ruined my two running backs last year were Singletary and Montgomery, and they both had terrible years, and so went my team.
Yeah.
Sorry with the fantasy football.
Okay. And that's crazy because, like, both of those two running backs that you pick, had they actually done what their teams needed them to do, young guy in David Montgomery who's inconsistent, young guy in Devin Singletary who's inconsistent, if they were able to be who the teams thought that they were drafting, your whole season's different, is it not? You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So,
so.
What it kind of shows, talking about, the Buffalo building on what they did last year, which was very successful, but clearly they feel like they need more in the pass rush because they went after Greg Rousseau, and then come back in round 2 and get Boogie Basham out of Wake Forest.
I love that name, man.
Yeah, it's a good name. It's a good name. But, like, listen, I talked about it earlier. I'm down on Greg Rousseau. He's big, huge guy, talented.
Yeah.
I just don't know.
On his tape, man.
Thank you. And that's what it is. That's what it is to me, man. Like, if you're a defensive end, like, I like him big and fast. I don't need him big and slow. Like, you might as well be a tackle.
He doesn't look like he does the choppy steps. Like, it's like,
I like my defensive ends quick and twitchy.
That's what I picked.
You know what I'm saying? And strong.
Yeah.
You're right. So
I like Kevin Hart's old stand up where he's like, I got one move. I need defensive ends doing that.
Yeah. I thought the rest of their draft was meh, Drew. What about you? Outside of those two picks?
I obviously did too because those are the only two I wrote down.
Me too. Me too.
I do like their offseason though. You said, they just went out and got some people to complement what they already had. They have Josh Allen. They went out and got Mitchell Trubisky because we all know the name of the game sometimes is how good is your backup.
Right.
And Mitchell Trubisky, as a starter, but has the potential to be top-notch backup quarterback.
Yeah. We talked about that earlier in the offseason. Their quarterback room is, like, as far as, like, collegiate talent, very deep. Josh Allen, Mitchell Trubisky, Jake Fromm, and Davis Webb.
Remember when everyone thought Webb was the answer in New York?
Hilarity.
Yeah. But yeah, they went out and got Emmanuel Sanders, who I think is going to be great for
Emmanuel
Stephon
Sanders
Diggs.
too. Yes, sir.
Like, take a little tension off of him. And then they could be underrated move because Knox was kind of up and down in the passing game last year. They went out and got Hollister. Tight end from Seattle who had some
Good
good
depth
years
signing.
with
Yeah.
Dangerous.
Yeah, and Hollister was a guy who would show up very under the radar. You know what I'm saying? Like I do like that signing as a backup. What I need this team to do though is the offensive line does need to be a little. They need to continue what they were doing though, so that's why they bring back in Darrell Williams. I need to see more from Cody Ford. Because he was kind of a down, an inconsistent spot and otherwise a great year. Obviously, they're a very successful team. And then Deion Dawkins, I want to see him continue to ascend too. But they got some depth. They brought us some depth as well for the offensive line. So
because you're my go-to offensive line guy. Was the lack of running game last year more on the running back shoulders, or was the offensive line not opening spots for him?
I believe it was more of the offensive. It was a combination of both. Like sometimes one part of that equation has to carry the other, and there was too often times that both parts of the equation weren't doing what they needed to do. Now, they got high grades in pass blocking, but run blocking was not quite as consistent as you'd like it to be. Maybe they can scheme some things up, kind of do some things a little bit differently, but adding to the passing game will definitely help, and I definitely think Stephon Diggs is well on track to repeat what he did last year with the addition of Emmanuel Sanders.
Man, it was just so much fun to watch him play last year.
Yeah,
he was guaranteed 120 yards and a touchdown. I loved it.
He will be a very high fantasy pick. Cole Beasley, also, he's an idiot, but he is a damn good ball. He is a damn good receiver. Yeah, he's a damn good receiver. He's a baller. He's not very smart though.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think they will continue to do what they do.
Yeah, I have no worries about this offense, and clearly kind of transitioning over the defense. Like you said, they made getting to the quarterback a priority. You know what I mean? They went out first 2 rounds, got a defensive end. They still got Butler and Oliver over there in the front line. They got Addison, who's no slouch.
Yeah.
I got the potential to be a scary defense again. Like they were pretty good last year.
Yeah, and I kind of like that. Especially if they can, like you said, if they can get the pass rush with these young guys. Jerry Hughes is still on the roster for some reason. Mario Addison also is a known, but I think that's why they double dip there at the defensive end spot, because
he does one thing and one thing good. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like he's definitely a rotation guy on pass plays. And that's it. Like, my man does not need to be on the field when the other team's running the ball.
And I do like their defensive tackles, but I still I'm an Ed Oliver fan, but I can't bullshit you. I need to see more from Ed Oliver. Like, I need to see more from Ed Oliver. The rotation though with him, Butler, Latulele, we both got it right.
Gotta miss that boys, dude, man.
Holla at your boy.
I miss that.
He was good for y'all, man. He was good for y'all.
Yeah,
at least solid. He was solid.
Him and KK. God.
Yeah. Damn, those were those years. And I
just salivate pairing him with Burns. Oh, come on, man.
Yeah. I mean, at least what he used to be. You know what I'm saying? At least what he used to be.
Right.
But I honestly, talking about, and this is just a note of mine, but like Harrison Phillips, I think he needs to step it up. He needs to step it up. Okay. Going along that Tatum
early
Bryan
season
route.
Sudsy step up candidate.
Yeah, he needs to step it up. Very, I really liked him coming out. His Twitter handle was unmatched though, by the way, too. I can't even remember what it is, but I just remember it being great. I think it's like Horrible Harry or something like that. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, but
going the old villain route.
Yeah. I love the linebackers, Drew. I love the linebackers for this team.
Yeah.
Milano, Edmonds, and Klein, tops. One of the better linebacking cores in the league. And you know what you're getting in the secondary.
I feel like Klein has been underrated his entire career, and he is just so solid.
He's solid, bro. I like some AJ Klein. What you like? I can't really see a fall off from the back 7 of this group, Drew. What about you?
I mean, any secondary that's got Tre'Davious White and Micah Hyde in it,
yep,
pretty good in my books. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
And the great thing about it is, look at this division. You know what I mean? They've got Tua in Miami. They got whatever New England's putting out on the field, possibly a rookie, and then another rookie in New York. Like, this secondary can feast this year.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that, but yeah, you're right. And they'll have the opportunity to do so. And I got to shout out my man Levi Wallace too, big fan of his. But it's all there for them, and I don't see a drop off, especially and again, the X factor for this team, the thing that's going to put them over the top that nobody can see coming, but everybody knows is coming. Josh Allen's rushing ability. Like, I'm sorry, like he
I was going to say the running game, period. You know.
Oh, that too. But that's the X factor.
But he might be the only. He might be the whole running game like he was last year. We'll see.
Right. Yeah.
I think if this team gets a running game, watch out.
Yeah, because it's just something else you have to account for, and if you can mix in, if you can add another phase to the offense, running back rushing, wide receivers catching the ball, quarterbacks being accurate, but if you get all three of those and add the quarterback who can rush the ball, you got an MVP candidate. Why don't you see Cam Newton from 2011? Yeah, see Cam Newton from 2011. Like, that was a multifaceted offense. So you get the same thing here with that same big ass quarterback who can throw the ball and rush the ball at the same time. Way more accurate than Cam ever was, though.
Well, let's look at this schedule, man, because I'm very intrigued with the Pittsburgh game, week 1. You know what I mean? Like, that's going to be...
Yeah, man.
It's going to feel... Especially if Pittsburgh has a little sense of urgency about them. You know what I mean?
That's the question. Let me ask you real quick. Who is the pressure on in that game? Because it's the first game of the season, and, like, there's a lot of questions, but let me ask you, let me put it to you. Who has more pressure in that first game, week 1?
I think Pittsburgh, because if Buffalo loses, they got Miami and Washington and Houston. Bam, bam, bam. After that, to bounce back, win 3 quick games, be 3-1, be fine.
Yep, and you're exactly right. Because I think the pressure is on Pittsburgh because of the way they ended last season and how many questions they have coming into this season. Especially with Ben coming back for another year. Bro, I heard somebody, like, they were talking crap about Pittsburgh's receivers today, and, like, whoever it was like, yeah, so there was questions about Juju Smith-Schuster. Is he a joke? And oh, Jesus. Like, Jesus.
Like, we went from saying that man was ready to be a number 1 to is he a joke?
Is he a joke? Juju.
Oof.
Oh, man.
Oof.
Prove it.
Oof.
Yeah.
They do have Kansas City, Tennessee, week 5 and 6 back to back.
Yeah, that's
and then
tough.
They got Tampa 14.
Yeah.
But other than that, man, they might lose a game here and there that the team catches them off guard or they go to sleep, but I got them going 13-4.
I got them going 14-3. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. And that's the thing is, like, these hard teams look a lot different when you're a badass team yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because it's a wash. Like, either team can win. So I got these boys going 14-3 and ready to take that next step, trying to get a Super Bowl.
Nice. Well, where does that leave your standings wise here in the AFC East?
So, Drew, as far as my standings go, bro, I got the Bills on top. Once again, I know circle the wagons. Folks in Buffalo love to see it. Personally, I'm a wingman myself.
Jump through some tables.
Y'all always got a bright spot in my heart. Dolphins, and then I got the Pats, and then unfortunately the Jets bringing up the rear, but still +4 wins for the Jets after coming off a 2-win season. So that's where I'm at. Drew, what about you, bro?
Pretty similar, except for I don't believe in the Dolphins and kind of believe in the Patriots. I got Bills, Pats, Dolphins, Jets.
All right.
With the Jets, like you said, with a lot more to be excited about. We might be talking about different standings a year from now. Depending on how much this team grows. But I mean, all the signs point to them improving. They just gotta get a little bit of experience under their belt.
Yeah, and I think that'll happen. So, very intriguing coming into the 2022-23 season. With what can possibly transpire this year, but I don't think it changes. I think the Bills end up on top. So, That's what we got. That's what we got.
Well,
you tell us if you feel differently.
Please do. You have been so far, and we appreciate you. Sorry to Paul for the Philly being last place. Have you been on the Instagram account and seen it yet? Go check it out.
Oh yeah, like I saw, like I was getting the notifications on my Apple Watch, like a lot of responses on there. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. Definitely.
Well,
follow
next week. We only got 2 divisions left, so next week let's dive into the NFC North.
Let's do it.
You know, we got Justin Fields in Chicago. We got Rodgers. Is he going to play nice in Green Bay? Is Kirk Cousins good enough with his plexiglass case in Minnesota? And what in the world is going on with the Lions? So we'll answer all that and more next week. Shawn, where can they find you on the social medias?
At the Kid Suds on Twitter, at @nickel_Dom FB on Twitter, and of course the illustrious at @nickel_Dom Football on IG. Drew, what about you, bro?
DrewHarrisonComedy.com for all things. Subscribe to this YouTube page, get all of our past episodes. Check me out on Instagram at Laugh with Harrison. Just got a new podcast out telling funny stories with my funny friends. Check it out. Got 2 awesome friends of mine from Wilmington, Gerard Fortune and Cordero Wilson on the first episode. So yeah, we got a couple more weeks and then we get real season football. So stay with us. We'll get you through this season.
Yes, sir.
We'll see you next week.